Hello chaps, today I thought I might just share some of my favourite licks with you of the speedy persuasion, really, all the fast stuff. And it has to be said that I really don't consider myself to have a particularly fast style of playing, not compared to some of the really fast guys who are out there. But I do like to throw in the odd turn of speed from time to time, usually just to build up a little bit of tension in a solo. And I'm going to show you my five favourite ways that I like to do that. And well, let's get right down to it. The first one is a little bit of really sweep picking. Now I don't know if you can see that right. Let's just move over this way. There we go. I tend to use 5-string sweep picking arpeggios most of the time when I'm sweep picking, and this is how I do it. This first arpeggio is based around a bottom C chord shape, one of those, and we're doing it up here, starting at the 10th fret, which makes it a G major arpeggio. And I'll show you the shape first of all. It's just that note, 10th fret, 5th string, then onto the 9th fret, 4th string, then onto the 7th fret, 3rd string, then onto the 8th fret, 2nd string, then onto the 7th fret, top string, and then 10th fret, top E string again, and then back up to the 7th fret on the top E string, 8th fret, 2nd string, 7th fret, 3rd string, 9th fret on the 4th string, and 10th fret again on the A string. And the way that you pick that is crucial for this to work, really. What you do is you do essentially one long downstroke on the way down. That's what sweep picking is. It's continuing the same picking stroke as you move from string to string. So here's that kind of slowly. There we go. That's all essentially one pick stroke. And I'll move a bit closer, possibly. Let's move the camera, shall we? That'd be a good idea. And we're looking at my We're looking at my picking hand here as I'm going through this. So it's down, 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 down. Then my next note is the 10th fret on the top E string, and I do that with an upstroke. Then we go down again, and a pull off back to the 7th fret on the top E string, and then it's just upstroke, 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 and you run all of that together and you get okay. Let's move the camera back again so you can see what I'm talking about. Right, there we go, that's better. So here that is again. It's then the next arpeggio I'm going to do is up at the 14th fret on the 5th string, and this is a B minor arpeggio, and what I'm going to do is go exactly the same picking routine as with the previous arpeggio, which is down, 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 up, down, pull off, up, 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 up. And all I'm doing to change the shape of the arpeggio is I'm basically flattening the thirds. What we had here was a major chord arpeggio, root, 3rd, 5th, root, 3rd, 5th. And what I'm doing here is I'm taking the 3rd, there's the 3rd, flatten it to a flattened 3rd, which makes it minor. Then 5th, then root, that's where the 3rd would be, flatten it, the 5th, so we get this shape. 14th fret on the 5th string, 12th fret on the 4th string, 11th fret on the 3rd string, 12th fret on the 2nd string, 10th fret on the top E string, 14th fret on the top E string, and then back down those positions once again like that. Here's that whole arpeggio run together. So use those fingers, 4th, 2nd, 1st, 2nd, 1st, 4th for that one, and back down here it's obviously, as you could see earlier, it's 4th, 3rd, 1st, 2nd, 1st, 4th. And here's both of those arpeggios strung together. And what you're going to see next is a bit of a close-up of that, played slowly and then gradually building up to the speed that it's used at in the solo. Then you'll actually hear it played over a backing track. So here it comes. Right, well hopefully that wasn't too painful, and just remember to keep the picking regime as I was showing you and build up the speed gradually, and you should be fine. Next one we're going to look at is a little bit of tapping really. I've put up videos before where I show how I tap with pentatonic scales, and you know, search those out and have a look at those if you want more details on that. This is kind of more how I tap using kind of a full major scale mode really, and the backing track that I'm going to be playing over in a sec is largely based around chords from E Aeolian, which is basically the key of G major, but with the main focus of the chords centering on the E minor chord. Now then, basically the notes of E Aeolian have, well, some of the notes in them anyway are E, F sharp and G, and then what I'm going to do is those are the three notes I'm going to be playing with my left hand, and with my right hand I'm going to come over and I'm going to tap this A note on the top E string at the 17th fret. And if you look at the shape that these three fingers are in on my left hand, it's that sort of 2 frets plus 1 fret orientation that, you know, many scales have. I'm also just going to repeat that particular shape with this hand here, but starting at the 17th fret. So my right hand is going to be tapping that A note there, then 2 frets above that the B, then 1 fret above that the C, and I get this kind of thing. Here it is slowly. Oops. So it's kind of those three notes there, E, F sharp, G with my left hand, and A, B, C with my right hand. And coming up next is that shown a little bit closer up, and then a demonstration of it over the backing track. Here it comes. Right, how did that go? Hopefully everything went okay and according to plan. And once again, just as with all of these licks, build up the speed gradually and You know, don't try playing faster than your fingers will move. It's kind of like typing a familiar password. The first time you type some password into your social media or email or something like that, you know, it's kind of one finger at a time, like that. But you essentially, or eventually I should say, get to a point where you can just do it in half a second, and it just runs off your fingertips quite quickly because you are familiar with it, and the same will be true of these licks. Now then, the next one is one of my favourite licks, and I first learned this many years ago when I was learning a Thin Lizzy song, Waiting for an Alibi. And there's a lick that Gary Moore plays in the solo of that. I think it was Gary Moore who was playing that part of the solo. It might have been Scott Gorham, but anyway, let's say it's Gary Moore. And it's a pure E minor pentatonic lick that I'm going to play this time. And what it is, it's everybody's minor pentatonic favourite bend, which is this third string full tone bend on the third string. Yep, there we go. And I tend to do that with my second finger up this part of the neck, and then after that bend we go to the second and first strings, both at the 12th fret, so you get that. Okay, that in itself is a pretty cool lick. Many solos use that, and we finish this off just by putting these two notes on here, the D note at the 15th fret on the second string, pulling off to the B note 12th fret on the second string, which kind of goes like this. Okay, sometimes I hit this D note here as a hammer-on, so I just kind of go like that. And my picking action is actually, I guess when you analyse it, it's kind of just sweeping anyway, because I'm just continuing one downstroke across all three strings, going so that's just kind of down, 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 and then, as I say, usually I come at that note there with a pull off for the last little two note figure in the lick. Here's a bit of a close up of that, and done at kind of a slow speed and then up at something like the full speed, and then you'll hear it as with the others against the backing track. Here it comes. Now then, speaking of Gary Moore, as I was a moment ago, one of my favourite licks that he tends to do quite a lot is that thing where he takes an open string and does a really fast trill. That kind of thing like that. And I find that really troublesome. I just can't get the speed with it that I would like to get. And then I sort of tumbled across the Joe Satriani version of that technique, really, where what he does is he uses the side of his pick to trill, almost like a Woody Woodpecker kind of action there on the desk, but he does it on a string, obviously, and then you keep that, well, you can move that around, you can move that sort of pedal note, as it's called, around, but I tend to keep it constant and move other notes below it, so you get that, and that's the lick that we've got coming up next in a bit of a close-up, then obviously along with the backing track as well. And now we come to the final lick of this little collection. This is one of my favourite techniques, legato. Now, legato simply means, in its strictest sense, smooth and flowing, musically anyway. It's the opposite of staccato. What it tends to mean as a guitar technique is just using lots of hammer-ons and pull-offs and slides to either ascend or descend a scale. Now, when I tend to do this, the way I approach it is I will always use a hammer-on or a pull-off when I'm coming in this direction. So when I'm going from the first string to the second string to the third string, and so on, I will always use a hammer-on, I guess. When I'm going in the opposite direction, say if I'm going from the fifth string to the fourth, then I will use hammer-ons and pull-offs on that string there, but as soon as I go to the next string, I'll do that with a pick. So I'm kind of using a pick in that direction and pull-offs or hammer-ons, I guess, coming in the opposite direction, this way. This lick uses the notes of the G major scale, which is the parent key for the backing track, and basically the shape it's using is kind of this little motif here. So that's 9th, 10th, 12th on the 5th string, 9th, 10th, 12th on the 4th string. That kind of thing. Then what I do is I slide up to the 14th fret on the 4th string, because that first part of the lick I've ended up on the 12th fret 4th string, and I slide up to the 14th fret 4th string, and then that gives my first finger traction on the 11th fret 3rd string, and there we go again. You see, hammer-ons and pull-offs when I'm sitting on one string, and coming back to the 4th string I use a hammer-on, then coming back to the 3rd string I'll pick, then onto the 2nd string, so the lick in total, I'll play it very slowly, and then you're going to see it in close-up as well. So here it is, nice and slow. And finish on a bend, like that. And you can see it's just basically made up of one shape, that sort of 1 fret interval between 1st and 2nd fingers, then a 2 fret interval between 2nd and 4th fingers. The basic pattern that I'm using is that. Right, once again, here is the lick in close-up, played slow, then a little bit faster, and then you're going to hear it with a backing track. Here it comes. And there you have it, 5 of my favourite fast-ish, speedy licks. I would never ever say that I was a fast or particularly shred-based guitar player. That's not what I'm about as a musician. But it is nice just to have a few of those in the tank that you can kind of pull out should the occasion demand it. Best used sparingly just to build up a little bit of tension in a solo. That last one, that legato one at the end, is something or things like that, I tend to find very useful as a big climax to a solo when you finish on that big bend right up the top end of the neck. Right, I hope you found this useful, and see you next time. Bye for now.